Hey there, authors, and welcome back to I Will Go Down with This Ship. If you're new here, I'm Heather, and this is a place where we break down everything you need to know about writing, indie publishing, and thriving as an author. In today's video, we're diving into a genre that's exploding in popularity, Mafia Romance. Whether you're a seasoned author or just starting your writing journey, if you've ever dreamed of creating dark, dangerous, and passionate love stories, then Mafia Romance might be your next big hit. Before we dive into the nuts and bolts, let's talk about what makes Mafia Romance so irresistible to readers. It's the allure of forbidden love, the tension between power and vulnerability, the contrast of danger and safety, and, of course, the larger-than-life characters who live by their own set of rules. Mafia Romance blends suspense, high-stakes drama, and passionate romance, and that's a recipe readers can't resist. So, what are the key elements that make a mafia romance stand out from other romance genres? Let's break it down, starting with the hero or anti-hero of your story. In mafia romance, the love interest, usually a mafia boss or someone high up in the underworld, potentially an enforcer as well, has to be dark, dangerous, and powerful. He's not your typical bad boy. He's someone who operates outside of the law, often with a moral code that only makes sense in his world. Think of characters like Christian Grey, but with a gun, a family to protect, and a lot more enemies. He might be ruthless in the streets, but he's capable of deep, possessive love. One key thing to remember, readers love the contrast of danger and vulnerability in mafia heroes. He can be the guy running an empire or dealing with dirty deals, but he's also got to have a softer emotional side, especially when it comes to the heroine, and usually only for the heroine to see it. This duality is what creates that compelling tension in the relationship. Next, let's talk about the heroine. In mafia romance, she's usually caught between two worlds, the normal world and the dangerous mafia underworld. She can be a civilian who gets sucked into the chaos or someone with her own dark past. But here's the kicker. Your heroine has to be strong and relatable. Readers want someone they can see themselves in, but who's also got enough grit to stand toe-to-toe with your mafia anti-hero. So, what are some traits for both our hero and our heroine? Our hero needs to be charismatic but ruthless, powerful but with vulnerabilities, loyal to family or code, protects the heroine at all costs, and has a hidden soft side. I love to think of Boyd Crowder right here, potentially even the ghoul from Fallout. They fulfill this very much. And if we're being honest, Beetlejuice, just saying. But for our heroine has to be brave and resilient, intelligent. She has to be able to match wits with the hero, has her own goals and values, and can challenge the hero without being submissive. However, I really want to make a note that does not mean that your heroine has to be a badass or like super strong and independent woman, whatever. She can be innocent. She can be naive. You just have to cultivate it in a way that makes sense, where the hero is drawn to her innocence. One of the most important things is that the heroine isn't a damsel in distress. Sure, she may need saving from time to time. Hey, that's part of the fantasy, right? But she's also got to be a partner in the relationship. Someone who challenges the hero, forcing him to change or see the world differently. Now, when I say forcing him to change, it's not who he is as a person, because your readers are going to love the hero for exactly who he is. This is why, without spoiling anybody, this is why these books never result in the hero giving up his mafia lifestyle and running away with the heroine. It's why the heroine is actually corrupted in a way where she is an equal partner with the hero by the end of the trilogy or the book itself. We like the darkness, we like the power. A lot of the journey is the heroine realizing that she has it in her to be an equal to someone like your hero. So now that we've got the characters out of the way, let's talk about world building. In Mafia Romance, the setting is just as important as the characters. You need to create a gritty, immersive world where danger lurks around every corner and power dynamics are constantly shifting. So the elements of a mafia world, the mafia family and the hierarchy, power struggles and rivalries, corruption and crime, luxury, wealth, and power juxtaposed with violence, and secret codes and moral ambiguity. I really like to think of it like if I was creating Game of Thrones, so this fantasy world with all of these court intrigue, but setting it against this mafia backdrop. So it's a contemporary setting, but we have different relationships. We have different families all vying for the throne or territory. So a lot of the world building is going to be really integral to building a successful mafia world that you can write either a dynamic series where you have to read the books in order or a standalone series with different couples in each book. So think of it like building a high stakes chess game where each character is a piece and every move could lead to devastating consequences. The mafia world should feel rich, dangerous, and morally gray. Readers need to feel like they're stepping into a world that operates on its own set of rules where every decision could lead to life or death. So the next step is the plot. Before we dive into the plot, I just want to say that I have a bunch of mafia templates on the website. And basically what they do is they give you prompts for 30 chapters. If you write novellas, 15 chapters, where you can take all of what you're learning today in this video and incorporate it in this template. It's already incorporated. You just have to kind of think, okay, what tropes am I doing? And then you plug them in. It's so easy. And there's a sample outline so you can see what this looks like. I've done it for a standalone mafia. I've done it for a wide choose mafia. And I've even done it for a trilogy and a duet. So you have plenty of options if this is a genre you really want to get into. So anyway, mafia romances thrive on high stakes and intense conflict. The plot usually involves forbidden love, betrayal, and a constant looming threat. Your character should never feel 100% safe, whether from rivals, enemies, or even each other, even within their own families at times. Potential plot ideas. A mafia boss falls for the daughter of a rival family. The heroine is kidnapped or caught in a crossfire of a mafia war. A cop or lawyer finds themselves entangled in the underworld. Forbidden love between a mafia heir and someone off limits. The key is to keep your characters in constant emotional and physical tension. There should be external threats like mafia families or the law closing in, but also internal struggles like distrust, secrets, and that push-pull dynamic of desire versus danger. And then we're going to talk about the actual romance, balancing the passion with the tension. So the love story. Mafia romances are known for their intense, steamy relationships, but it's important to balance that with the emotional depth. Your readers want the electric chemistry, yes, but they also want to see the real vulnerability between the characters. It has to make sense. So you have slow burn versus instant attraction, the push and pull of trust issues, emotional vulnerability and intimacy, balancing possessiveness with respect, high stakes in love. What are they willing to risk for each other? In a mafia romance, the stakes in the relationship should feel just as high as the stakes in the outside world. Maybe loving each other puts them in even more danger, or maybe they have to make sacrifices. The important thing is to build the emotional connection alongside the physical. So finally, let's talk about endings. Most mafia romances have a happily ever after, or at least a happy for now. But that doesn't mean it has to be easy, and really it shouldn't. You really want to earn that romance. Your characters should earn, like I said, that happy ending through all the trials and tribulations you've thrown at them. So some common endings could be a wedding or a commitment if it's not already an arranged marriage, which if that's the case, that should happen around the trigger point of your story because that's going to thrust your heroine into this new world, which would be your act 2. The heroine becoming part of the mafia hierarchy, usually the equal, a potential redemption arc for the anti-hero, but not in terms of, oh, I'm going to redeem myself for all of the terrible things I did, unless it directly affects the heroine. Remember, we're not here to justify the hero's actions, but at the same time, we're also not here to absolve him of his sins. We want him dirty. We want him exactly the morally gray lover that we know he is. In few instances, leaving the mafia for a new life together could make sense, especially if the hero comes from a corrupt mafia family. But typically, he will break apart and start his own syndicate, if that makes sense. So remember, your readers have been through a lot of emotional twists and turns by the end of the story. Make sure the ending is both satisfying and believable. So there you have it. How to write a mafia romance that keeps readers turning the pages and falling in love with your dangerous, captivating characters. What do you think? Have you ever tried writing a mafia romance, or are you thinking about it now? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And please don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. And of course, subscribe for more writing tips, tricks, and inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.